Hey there. Welcome, civilians. You've arrived at the home of civilized and thought-provoking commentary. Get ready for elevation, growth, and experience. I am the civilized woman.
Y'all, I have no clue what kind of hot, putrid, pustule, disgusting mess I watched. That trash interview that Arionne and Martell did with Marsau's alleged side chick. It was a dud. My overall impression of this interview, it's very interesting to me how Arionne tried to position herself in this interview. She positioned herself as being legitimate. She positioned herself as being better than the young lady that she sat across. She really positioned herself like she was a wife. If I'm being honest, now I don't think any self-respecting wife would conduct an interview with a supposed side chick. Clearly, Arionne is not making moves of somebody who ever desires to be a wife. Now, she says she don't. I think she really does, but she likes to pretend like she doesn't. The fact that they sat here, this was an epic fail to me, and I'll tell you why. The reality of the situation is anything that Martell touches will fail. Till he does right by the family that he violated and the covenant that he broke, nothing will go well for him. Nothing he'll do will go well for him until he rectifies that. But we all know the way Martell moves, that's a slim to none chance of that happening. Throughout this interview, Arionne is kind of throwing shots at this young lady, and I don't know if the young lady catches it and she's just trying to play cool, or she just doesn't know what's going on. She was saying stuff like, so you were in credit one with no mattress, no nothing, just in the nighttime, no daytime, outings or whatever. And this young lady kind of seemed to not get it, or again, didn't catch it. Y'all, we are in a day and time where a young lady can come on the internet and say that it was fun to have two phallus in her orifices, one in her mouth and one in her vagina, of two brothers, because it's YOLO and it was fun. That's how far gone we are, that we would have a young lady come on the internet and say that. Mind you, she said during this interview that she wants to be married and have children. I can't think of any self-respecting man who would actually marry this young lady. And she said she was 31. Baby, you living a little too hard, because you're not giving 31, with all due respect. Stop a little bit of that devilish living where you're interfering with covenant, and perhaps you'll start to look more your age. I got the feeling that this girl did more with Martell, in my opinion, than she did with any of the Scott brothers. I could tell during this interview she was alibying Martell in a way that I didn't find to be necessary unless you were trying to cover up something. I think Martell did more with this young lady than she did with either of the Scott brothers. I think that Martell obviously don't need Arionne upset, because he needs to continue to use her. So he don't need her to have anything that will cause her to get upset and, kind of retaliate against him. But this young lady kept talking about how Martell looked out for her and how, he made sure she was taken care of. Martell don't care like that unless he was getting something from her. So this young lady wasn't just there and available for Marsau. I actually am going to give Marsau a little bit of a credit here. Marsau, there's no doubt in my opinion that Marsau messes around on Tisha. I don't think any of us doubt that. But thus far, he's been very careful about how he moves. Him and his brother, they seem to be picking women that have things to lose. This young lady does not come across to me as somebody who has anything to lose. She was meeting up with this man, according to her, for little or nothing. In cases, she was paying her own way. You're gonna be a side chick and you pay your own way? I mean, what are you getting out of it other than getting screwed and being sent on your way? And the fact that Arionne kept stressing credit one, like she wanted it to be known that it's not just Marsau, it's all of the Scott brothers. Kimmy, is Martell still a good guy? When him and his side chick are sitting there alluding to the fact that the business that you help your husband build is used for these kind of shenanigans, these kind of activities. You know, these people had no qualms when Martell was doing this to Melody. Now he's turned the tables on them because, of course, his ego has been bruised. How dare they talk about him? Because, you know, Martell takes accountability for nothing. So now he's throwing a tantrum and he's trying to do revelatory interviews about the Scotts. We all know that they mess around. What new revelation came from this? I feel like it revealed more about Martell and Arionne than it did the Scotts. And Arionne asking questions, like she really was asking questions like she's the wife. Like, what did Martell do when y'all were XYZ? Or how did he conduct himself? And then throwing little sneak things in there alluding to her situation with him and Martell when he was messing around on his ex-wife. And then she throws in the restaurant condos, like basically trying to play this girl like you weren't getting nothing but screwed and you weren't getting any kind of trips or anything like that. And she throws in Connors in there. And we all know that Mel has mentioned that restaurant before. I think that's her favorite or one of her favorite restaurants in the Huntsville area. Girl, child, I'm having trouble believe that Martell took you to any Connors. Maybe in the beginning when he had access to Mel's money. And Arionne even alluded to that in this interview where she talked about how they were having, you know, big fun in the beginning, traveling, taking trips and all of that. And I'm like, yeah, you were, because y'all were spending his ex-wife's money. And I know that's not happening now. We know that all of these men alibi each other. We know that they cover for each other by paying for the side chick stuff. Like Marsau did that with Arionne. Arionne even said that in this interview, did that for Martell. And so apparently Martell did the same thing for him with this young lady. This interview was a mess. These three were a mess. Arionne talking about part 2. There shouldn't have even been a part 1 for there to even be a part 2. I want us to go back to the days when side chicks took pride in being the side. They knew their position and they played it. That's what I want us to go back to. That's what I want us to go back to. That's literally all I'm going to say about this for now. Well, not for now. Period, actually. Period. I honestly wasn't even sure if I was going to do this, and then I heard the part about her talking about having, you know, penises in her mouth and other areas of her, and I just was like, this is crazy. I cannot even believe that came out of her mouth. She should be ashamed. Any and everybody that know her should be ashamed. Martell and Arionne should be ashamed, but they're not, because they're not moving like people who are, or who should feel shame. So that's that, y'all. Until next time.
Please like, comment, share, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.